Hello, Ash. How are you?
Evening, Greg. I'm very, very well. How you doing?
Yeah, good. I'm good. The weather's starting to finally get a bit better. So,
Mm.
yeah, it's all
After the
good.
torrential downpours earlier this week,
And the wettest April on UK record or something
was it?
ridiculous. Yeah, something like that.
Jeez.
So it's gonna be a hot summer, I think. So fingers
Hopefully,
crossed.
hopefully.
So we continue in our haunted pub crawl. And
Yep,
last time we covered off a part of the end of South Shields, I think, and then we made our way into York.
we did.
And I think today we're staying in York.
I certainly am.
So am I. So am I. So, yeah. And York has quite a historic and rich history. So I think we're going to
Mm.
have a few episodes there. So,
Yeah, one of the oldest cities, and they got the old Grand Old Duke of York and all that stuff from Civil War times and beyond.
yeah, Duke of York's probably not so good to mention nowadays, Prince Andrew.
I didn't even know that was that.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a Duke of York,
Ah, okay.
or was. I don't know if he still is, but
Maybe not so grand.
no.
Anyway,
Anyway.
so York, and I covered the Golden Fleece in York last week,
Mhm.
and today I'm going to be talking briefly about a pub called the Snickleway Inn. It's
Cool.
lovely red facade on the front of the pub. So
Yes.
Snickleway Inn is a Grade Two listed pub right in the city centre of York. Lies on Goodram Gate, and the oldest part is the front section. So this bit you can see here,
Yeah.
constructed about 1500, so
Okay.
over 500 years old.
That's mental.
It's 3 stories high, and in the 17th century, a wing was added, and in the 19th century, some other things. So over the years, it's been owned by different people. They keep sort of adding things to it. It's just got bigger and bigger outbuildings. It's been called quite a few different things. It's been a pub since at least the 18th century.
Okay.
It was originally named the Painter's Arms, then it became the Square and Compasses, then the
Okay.
Mason's Arms, then the Board, and then Joiner's Arms. And then by 1872, it was renamed the Angler's Arms until 1994, when Frank Carton was landlord. He renamed it as a Snickleway Inn,
All right.
referencing the
Okay.
Snickleways of York, very nearby.
Yeah.
So lots of name changes, which is quite unusual. I think. I know some pubs do obviously change hands, change names, but it seems to have had quite a lot. Because a lot of the like sort of pubs names relate to like what it was originally, especially like inns and stuff, and I think they seem to have lots
Yeah.
of different names, like Mason's Arms, like Masonry,
Yeah.
Joiner's Arms, the joiner, Angler's Arms, Angler's like jobs. Just that has all these different names relating to different jobs.
Yeah.
It just seems like it keep changing. Painter's Arms, the first names like painters, just a little bit odd, but yeah.
They're clever with their naming.
Yeah, lots of arms,
Yeah.
like the arms. It wasn't always an inn. It was often used as a brothel, as a lot of these things are.
Yeah.
And the York Press named the pub, as did the Cora. We love that guy.
Legend.
As one of the five most haunted pubs in the city of York.
Ooh.
And apparently it's home to five different spirits.
Okay. Cool.
Going to talk about a couple of them. There's in the basement, in the cellar. There's been quite a lot of unusual activity, and they don't know who is causing that. Some mischievous spirit just causing a bit of havoc down there in the cellar. I mean, cellars, I suppose, in these old places like this and old cities, I reckon the cellars are pretty cool. I'd love to
Yeah.
sort of go down. Like we go to like the sort of the underground, like in Edinburgh, going to the vaults and stuff, being that like underground. A lot of time, like all the buildings are like linked through
Yeah.
underground
Underneath.
passages and
Yeah.
stuff, which is that'd be cool to go into. one of the most well-known spirits is Mrs. Tulliver and her cat called Seamus or Seamus, who both haunt this pub. Not only is the spirit of Mrs. Tulliver been seen walking around the pub, but the cat, Seamus, is said to rub up against the unsuspecting legs of patrons while they are having a drink.
Oh, cool.
So imagine like thinking like someone's flirting with you, like rubbing the foot on your leg, and then you look and oh no, it's a ghostly cat. Pretty cool. And another quite famous spirit is the wandering spectre of Marmaduke Buckle,
Ah,
who haunts both Inn and the nearby La Piazza. Marmaduke lived in the building between 1697 and 1715 and had a severe physical disability. His wealthy family offered him little protection when others at the time accused him of witchcraft. Poor Marmaduke found himself unable to basically carry on with being hidden away, being persecuted. He carved the letters 1697, his birth date, and 1715, his death date, and his initials into a beam and hung himself when he was just 18 years old. He just couldn't go on sort of having a disability and being persecuted, being accused of witchcraft, all these different things. So he just decided to unalive himself rather than carry on. And you can still see the carvings. That was actually in the building next, like sort of nearby, in the attic of La Piazza. But that's not the only part of the sad tale to remain. His ghost moves between the two buildings, slamming doors and flicking light switches, and is even thought to have attempted to push someone down the stairs in the Snickle way. That seems quite not the nicest spirit.
No,
But then you
quite
can't really
aggressive.
blame him.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to be hanging yourself and stuff like that, there's some dark things going on. So,
Yeah, so that is just some of the ghosts of the Snickleway Inn.
awesome. Awesome. I do like that red facade on the front. It's quite cool.
It's nice.
Stands out, doesn't it? Stands out.
Nice architecture inside as well. And
Yeah. Can see through the window. Yeah.
Mm.
Cool. 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 So, carrying on with that, the theme of York, I am going to be going to this place. Now, you might be able to recognize the picture above, made famous by V for Vendetta.
Oh,
Guy
yes.
Fawkes. Guy Fawkes, the face of Anonymous. So I'm going to be talking about the Guy Fawkes Inn in York. So it actually turns out that Guy Fawkes was actually born in York and born allegedly in the pub. Yeah. And or certainly on the premises. But the historic pub and hotel located there, the building dates back to 17th century and is named after the infamous gunpowder plot conspirator Guy Fawkes, who was born in York in 1570. So it's a 300-year-old pub. But the building originally served as a private residence before it was converted into a pub in the 18th century. It became a popular watering hole for locals and travellers and has remained a popular destination for visitors to York ever since because of the whole Guy Fawkes kind of name. I suppose people will go and yeah, it's a bit of a tourist attraction. Over the years, the inn has undergone many changes and renovations, but its historic character and charm has been preserved, and inside it does look really nice. Today, the Guy Fawkes Inn features a pub, restaurant, and several guest rooms for those who wish to stay overnight. And the inn's interior is decorated with period features, wooden beams, all that kind of stuff. So in addition to its role as a pub and hotel, the Guy Fawkes Inn has also been the site of significant historical events. During the English Civil War in the 17th century, the building served as a meeting place for royalist sympathisers who plotted against the parliamentarians. So as you know,
Makes
there was
sense.
the inn's association with the gunpowder plot and its most infamous conspirator, Guy Fawkes, has also contributed to the rich history, obviously.
Yeah.
Um, there are several artifacts and memorabilia related to the event now. And whilst it's got a long history and numerous renovations, they've tried to keep as much historical charm and character as possible. As mentioned, Guy Fawkes was born, and it is believed that he was baptized at the Church of St. Michael le Belfry, which is also located near Guy Fawkes Inn. And whilst I mentioned that Guy Fawkes was born on the premises, I think that's part of the legend, because the exact location isn't known for certain, but
Right.
obviously it lends itself a bit better if you say
Let's
it was
play
in the
on
pub.
it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So for people who don't know who Guy Fawkes is, you probably do, but he was involved in the gunpowder plot 1605, in which several other conspirators planned to blow up the Houses of Lords in London and an attempt to assassinate King James I. And Fawkes was caught in the act of guarding the explosives and was subsequently arrested, tortured, and executed. So,
As you do.
as you do. So, despite that, and despite its history, well, in spite of its history, you can actually imagine that there are reports of ghosts at Guy Fawkes Inn. It's got a very rich history, and as we know, times of darkness and trauma do lead to ghosts.
Yep.
So there are stories of ghosts that have been passed down through the generations. And again, there's no scientific evidence to support any of this. It's just people's experiences while they've been there. There's a ghostly apparition of a young boy who's often seen playing in the corridors and rooms of the inn. Some believe that the ghostly boy is the spirit of a child who was killed in a fire at the inn many years ago. Another famous ghost associated with Guy Fawkes Inn is that of a woman in white who's often seen walking through the inn's courtyard. And according to legend, the ghostly woman is the spirit of a former landlady who died in the inn and continues to look after her former home. So, along with that, there is another spirit of a cavalier. So a cavalier was one of the army kind of guys back in the day, and is supposed to have been wearing a cavalier's uniform, and is often seen in the bar area. The cavalier was a supporter of King Charles I during the Civil War, and it's believed that he may have been a regular patron at the inn during his lifetime. And obviously, these people were trying to plot against King James, and then you've got King Charles that this cavalier was a supporter of. There's also a ghostly nun, who's another spectral figure that's said to haunt the pub. And according to the stories, the nun was a former resident of the building when it was still a private residence. So right at the start, she is said to have taken her own life in one of the rooms, and her ghost has been seen walking through the inn's gardens. There have also been reports of other unexplained phenomena, including strange noises, disembodied voices, and the feeling of being watched. Some visitors have reported feeling a sense of unease or foreboding while staying in the inn, while others have reported quite the opposite and got a sense of calm and peace. So who knows? Because people do experience different things. There are,
for sure.
Yeah, there are these tales of spirits, and a lot of these haunted pubs, there's no sort of real evidence as such. It's all quite anecdotal, and obviously makes a good story, and the mask makes for good theatre when you're doing this kind of thing as well. So all in all, a scary place. It's definitely got potential, but it's not known as one of the most haunted places in York.
That's unusual.
Yeah, usually that's
maybe it actually is, because it doesn't claim it. It actually is the most haunted.
Yeah, which surprised me when you said that yours was in the top 5. And I thought, oh, actually, normally our claims are that they are the most haunted pub in their locations. So for both of these ones, they're not claiming to be, which is good. So maybe there is something to it.
Maybe. And that sort of the mask, the I don't know what you call it, the logo for the pub, the
Yeah,
sign.
yeah,
That reminded me of something because I was on Google Street View. So I work in the pub industry and I sometimes look at
yeah.
where our pubs are. And when there's like a face, like maybe it's the king's head or something like that, that's after a person, Street View blurs out the sign
Ah,
because it
interesting.
thinks it's someone's face,
Oh
like from the
yeah.
public. It blurs out. So there's quite a lot of looking at. So I thought, oh, that's so I could look at different pubs that like after a person when there's going to be an image of a person. A lot of them
Hmm.
have the face blurred out on the street. I just thought that's quite funny because it
Yeah, it
thinks
thinks
it's a
it's a
human,
human.
so it blurs it out.
But this mask, in the part of the logo, it's synonymous now with um, going against the government. And little did Guy Fawkes know back then that he would sort of represent people um, rising up
Mm,
against authority. Because Anonymous, the hacking group, are well known for posting videos with somebody
yeah,
in a sort of a mask of Guy Fawkes. And V for Vendetta was all about that sort of thing as well, and they all started wearing the masks. So yeah, it's maybe in the future they'll all look back and go, "Oh, I remember that. That was that hacking group's pub." And then
mm,
probably some people go, "That's that hacking group's pub, surely." So yeah, who
yeah. Could
knows?
be,
In the
could be.
future, they might be taking down the government and plotting to do it from that
We
building,
we can
like he
fingers
did.
crossed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, that is a little tour of York, and hopefully we might find the most haunted pub in York in coming episodes.
Maybe find out next time.